The book icons are drawn to reflect the idea or something significant in the book, which helps you to remember the name of the book. For Genesis, the heaven and the earth is the icon because it says in the Bible, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Genesis 1:1. Genesis also means the origin of creation. The icon for Deuteronomy is the open book because it says in the Bible, "And Moses wrote this law. At the end of every 7 years, read this law before all Israel. Take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark." Deuteronomy 31:9, 11, and 26. Deuteronomy is the book that contains the book of the law, from chapters 12 to 26. So the book of the law is the icon for Deuteronomy. The icon for Joshua is a fallen wall with a scarlet thread, because the Bible says, "Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." So the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. Joshua 6:16 and 20. To help you remember that the wall fell down flat is in chapter 6, a wall is drawn laying down flat and made to look like the bottom of a 6, with the scarlet thread that saved Rahab as the top of the 6. The icon for 2 Chronicles is 2 scrolls with a 3 and a 6 on each end of it, because the Bible says, "And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?" 2 Kings 20:20. The 3 and the 6 are drawn to remember there are 36 chapters in 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles is about the kings from Solomon to Zedekiah. The 3 on the left is drawn to reflect the gold and white stones of the temple. An S for Solomon is made into the Queen of Sheba, who is looking at the wonderful temple Solomon built when she came to visit his wise kingdom in 2 Chronicles. A man is drawn into the shape of a Z with his back turned and his hand out, walking away to portray Zedekiah refusing and turning away from the counsel of God, represented by the sea, to go to Babylon. The icon for Nehemiah is a wall, because it says in the Bible, "The words of Nehemiah, the wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, they that builded on the wall." Nehemiah 1:1, 3, and 4:17. The icon for Psalms is a music note with the stem going down, because it says in the Bible, "I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever." Psalm 89:1. Psalms means a spiritual song, and a music note reflects this idea. The Psalms music note is drawn with the stem down to make the letter P for Psalms. The icon for Proverbs is a rolled up scroll tied with a bow, because the Bible says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom." Proverbs 1:1 and 4:7. A proverb is a wise and true saying, and since we associate a diploma with wisdom, a rolled-up diploma or scroll is used for Proverbs. The icon for Isaiah is the angel with 6 wings saying, because it says in the Bible, the vision of Isaiah, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. Isaiah 1:1 and 6:2. The angel is drawn, covering his eyes, because eyes and Isaiah start with the long I sound. For the middle part, say, voice lines are drawn for I, say, The icon for Jeremiah is the dungeon with mire under the building, because the Bible says, Then took they Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon, and in the dungeon there was no water, but mire. So Jeremiah sunk in the mire. Jeremiah 38:6. Jeremiah almost sounds like mire in the middle of it. Jeremiah. At the bottom right side of the mire dungeon, the J for Jeremiah is drawn, sunk in the mire, to remember Jeremiah was the prophet that sunk in the mire. The icon for Ezekiel is the golden 2-wheel cart, because the Bible says, The word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Ezekiel 1:3 and 16. The icon for Micah is the house with the Star of Bethlehem over it, because the Bible says, But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, out of thee shall he come, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. Micah 5:2. This is the prophecy that tells Jesus would be born in Bethlehem. The icon for Matthew is the Matthew crown, because the Bible says, There came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? Matthew 2:1 and 2. Matthew is the first of the 4 Gospels and portrays Jesus as king, so a crown is used for the icon of Matthew. The top of the crown spells out Matthew for Matthew. The icon for Mark is a towel, because the Bible says, The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Mark 2:27. Mark is the second of the 4 Gospels and portrays Jesus as a servant, so a towel is the icon for Mark, because Jesus washed the disciples' feet. The icon for Luke is a man, because the Bible says, Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me and see, for a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. Luke 24:39. Luke is the third of the 4 Gospels and portrays Jesus as a man, so a man is the icon for Luke. This icon spells out Luke. The nose of the man makes the L. The bottom of the face makes the U. The body and legs make the K, and the hand going out makes the E in Luke. The icon for John is God's hands holding the world, because it says in the Bible, All things were made by him. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. John 1:3 and 3:16. John is the 4th of the 4 Gospels and portrays Jesus as God, so hands making the world is used for the icon of John. The icon for Acts is a stage, because the Bible says, "Go, stand and speak in the temple to the people all the words of this life." Acts 5:20. The apostles standing and speaking to the people in the temple is similar to actors performing on stages, and acts are performed on stages. So a stage is the icon for acts. The icon for Romans is a Roman column on the land to represent the Christians in Rome, because the Bible says, "To all that be in Rome," Romans 1:7. Rome is located on the left side and middle of this peninsula. The icon for 1 Corinthians is one palm tree on a peninsula, because the Bible says, "Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him." 1 Corinthians 2:9. The city of Corinth is located on the right side of a peninsula, almost an island, in the Mediterranean Sea. Since the things that God has prepared for them that love him is paradise, a paradise scene of a tropical peninsula with one palm tree is the icon for 1 Corinthians. Corinth is located near the bottom of the palm tree. Since a palm tree has a core in the middle of it, and core is the beginning sound of Corinthians, you can correlate that the core of the palm tree is pointing to Corinth in the 1 Corinthians icon. The icon for 2 Corinthians is two palm trees with a sun on a peninsula, because the Bible says, "For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, how that he was caught up into paradise." 2 Corinthians 4:6 and 12:4. Like 1 Corinthians, a paradise scene is also used for 2 Corinthians, because Paul was caught up into paradise in 2 Corinthians. A sun is drawn in 2 Corinthians because we think of paradise being sunny, and because there are familiar verses in 2 Corinthians which mention light, shine, and glory. The icon for Galatians is two swords, two shields, and the land, because the Bible says, "I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live." Galatians 2:20. Galatia is located between Europe and the East. It was highly prized because it was the bridge between them. People wanted to own this land for economic and commercial reasons. Therefore, much war saturated the land. The encyclopedia also says the Galatians were always warlike, and since Galatians sounds similar to gladiator fighters, two swords, two shields, and the land below are the icon for Galatians. The two shields also look like eyes to help you remember that the Galatians would have plucked out their own eyes and given them to Paul for him to see. The icon for Ephesians is the first church in Revelation by the sea, because the Bible says, "Unto the angel of the church of Ephesus write," Revelation 2:1, "and hath raised us up, and made us sit together in heavenly places." Ephesians 2:6. Ephesus is on the east coast of the Mediterranean Sea. A little back from the coast is where many of its ancient ruins have been excavated. Since the phrase "in heavenly places" is mentioned 4 times in the Bible, and they are all in Ephesians, a blue cloud with birds above the church are drawn to depict in heavenly places. The icon for Philippians is a flag on the land, because the Bible says, "I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me." Philippians 4:13. Philippi is located a little north of the Mediterranean seacoast. The encyclopedia says that Philippi was the scene of the victory by Mark Antony over Brutus in 42 BC. Philippians is also noted for its optimistic and joyful tone. For these reasons, a triumphant flag is the icon for Philippians. Flag and Philippians begin with the F sound to link together in your mind. The icon for Colossians is an angel with 4 clouds over the land, because the Bible says, "Let no man beguile you of your reward in voluntary humility and worshiping of angels." Colossians 2:18. Colossus is located a little below Galatia and east of Ephesus. Paul wrote the Colossians in response to the false Gnostic teachings that angelic powers rule the cosmos and that various ritual practices were required of Christians. So an angel is the icon. The icon for 1 Thessalonians is the tower by the sea with the Lady Thessalonica, because the Bible says, "For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Thessalonica is a city on the northern coast of the Mediterranean Sea. It was founded in 315 BC and named for a sister of Alexander the Great. One of the principal landmarks is the White Tower on the waterfront. Therefore, a white tower with a lady on top to represent Alexander the Great's sister, Thessalonica, is drawn on the north side of the sea for 1 Thessalonians. The icon for 2 Timothy is a toddler, because the Bible says, "And that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures." 2 Timothy 3:15. Since the icon for 1 Timothy is a baby, the icon for 2 Timothy is the baby growing up to be a toddler. Also, 2 Timothy is where it says that as a child Timothy knew the Scriptures. Therefore, a toddler is used as the icon for 2 Timothy. The toddler is drawn with his arms and legs extended, which make 2 things to remember. These 2 are for 2 Timothy. The icon for Titus is a family, with a husband, child, and wife, spelling the word Titus, because the Bible says, "To Titus, mine own son, after the common faith, husband of one wife, having faithful children." Titus 1:4 and 6. Since Paul also thought of Titus as his own son, and since husbands, wives, and children are mentioned in Titus, a husband, child, and a wife, along with the letters us, are the icon for Titus. The father is made with the capital T, the child is made with the I, the wife is made with the T, and the us in Titus describe who these people are. They are us. The icon for Hebrews is the cross and burnt offering altar, because it says in the Bible, "Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second." Hebrews 10:5 and 9. Hebrews is written to the Hebrews to help them understand that their old system of sacrifices had now been done away. Instead of bringing a lamb to the sacrifice for their sins and burnt with wood on the altar, the real lamb was sacrificed on the wood of the cross. The icon for James is the front-end loader because the Bible says, "Faith without works is dead." James 2:20. A light gold-colored front-end loader is used to represent working and doing. The gold color is used to indicate the works come from heavenly help. The icon for 1 Peter is one light green stone because the Bible says, "Simon, whom he also named Peter." Luke 6:14. Since Jesus renamed Simon to Peter, which means a stone, one light green stone is the icon for 1 Peter. The icon for 2 Peter is two dark green stones. The icon for 1 John is one pink heart because the Bible says, "Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God." 1 John 3:1. Since John is the beloved disciple and John speaks about love so much in his writings, the icon for 1 John is John drawn as a heart, because when people saw John, they saw his love. The icon for Jude is a person falling, because the Bible says, "Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling." Jude 1:24. Jude says God is able to keep us from falling, so a person falling is the icon for Jude. The icon for Revelation is 12 jewels in an R shape, because the Bible says, "And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones." Revelation 21:19. 12 jewels are drawn to represent the 12 foundations of the city in heaven. They are made into the shape of an R for Revelation. Great!